We like to think of ourselves as good people. Rational, moral, civilized. We follow the rules, we make the right choices, or at least, we try to. But beneath that polished surface, something else is lurking. Something raw, something dark, something hidden. Carl Jung called it the shadow, not because it haunts us from the outside, but because it is us. A part of us we've buried, denied, repressed. Not evil, necessarily, but dangerous. And if ignored, potentially destructive. In this video, we are going to explore the most unsettling idea Carl Jung ever put forward, the shadow self. We'll look at what it is, where it comes from, how it shapes our lives without us even knowing, and why Jung believed that until we confront it, we will never truly be whole. Carl Gustav Jung was born in 1875 in Switzerland. He grew up surrounded by religion and mysticism. His father was a pastor, and his mother claimed to experience paranormal phenomena. Even as a child, Jung was fascinated by dreams, symbols, and the inner world of the psyche. He eventually became a psychiatrist and worked closely with Sigmund Freud, who was, at the time, revolutionizing the understanding of the unconscious mind. But while Freud focused on sexual drives and childhood trauma, Jung was drawn to something deeper. He saw the human mind not just as a product of biology, but as a complex landscape of myth, symbols, and ancient archetypes. After a dramatic break with Freud, Jung went on to develop his own school of psychology, analytical psychology. He introduced concepts that still influence psychology, philosophy, literature, and spirituality today. Terms like archetypes, the collective unconscious, individuation, and, of course, the shadow. For Jung, psychology wasn't just about treating illness. It was about understanding the soul. Like and subscribe if you're ready to face the darkness. So what exactly is the shadow? In simple terms, the shadow is the part of ourselves that we repress or deny. It's made up of traits we consider unacceptable, shameful, or dangerous. These can be things like anger, jealousy, lust, selfishness, but also talents and desires we've been told we shouldn't have. It doesn't just include bad traits. Sometimes, our shadow contains positive qualities we've rejected: assertiveness, confidence, ambition, because we were raised to believe those traits made us arrogant or unlikable. The shadow begins to form early in life. As children, we learn that certain behaviors get us love and approval, while others get us punished or rejected. So we adapt. We wear a social mask. We push the unacceptable parts down, out of sight, into the unconscious. But just because we bury them doesn't mean they go away. They fester. They find ways to leak out, through projections, emotional outbursts, addictions, irrational fears. And if we ignore them long enough, they begin to control us from the shadows. The shadow doesn't always announce itself. Often, it appears when we least expect it, when we are under stress, in conflict, or confronted with something that threatens our self-image. One of the most common ways the shadow reveals itself is through projection. When we see something in someone else that triggers us, when we say, "I can't stand how selfish that person is," or "he's so arrogant, I hate it," we may actually be seeing a part of ourselves we've disowned. Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Think about that. Every person you dislike, every trait you condemn in others, may be pointing directly at something you carry but refuse to admit. Another way the shadow emerges is through impulsive behavior, moments when we snap or act out of character. A calm, collected person suddenly explodes in rage. A kind person lashes out cruelly. These are moments when the mask slips, and the shadow takes control. It can also appear in dreams, often in the form of dark figures, threatening strangers, or distorted versions of ourselves. Jung believed these dream characters were symbolic messengers, inviting us to confront the parts of ourselves we fear the most. Most people go their whole lives without confronting their shadow. They live in denial, convinced that they're good and that evil exists only out there, in others, in enemies, in society. But Jung warned that ignoring the shadow doesn't make it disappear. In fact, it makes it stronger. What we repress becomes unconscious, and what is unconscious becomes autonomous. It gains power, acting beneath the surface, influencing our thoughts, our relationships, our decisions. Unchecked, the shadow can lead to self-sabotage, destructive behavior, broken relationships, depression, even violence. At the societal level, entire groups, or nations can fall into collective shadow, projecting their darkest impulses onto outsiders, scapegoats, or enemies. History is full of examples where refusal to confront inner darkness has led to real-world horror. Jung believed that any attempt to become pure, to live without acknowledging the shadow, was an illusion, and a dangerous one. We can't cut the darkness out of ourselves. We can only integrate it. So if we can't destroy the shadow, what can we do? Jung's answer was simple, but not easy. We must confront it. We must bring the shadow into consciousness, face it honestly, and integrate it into our sense of self. This process is known as shadow work. Shadow work involves recognizing the parts of ourselves we've rejected, examining our emotional triggers, our biases, our recurring patterns. It requires deep self-reflection, humility, and the courage to admit that we are not as good or as rational as we like to believe. But it's not about becoming darker, it's about becoming whole. By accepting the shadow, we unlock hidden strengths. Repressed anger might become healthy assertiveness. Denied ambition might fuel our growth. Buried creativity might rise to the surface. The goal isn't to let the shadow rule us, but to integrate it, to acknowledge that it's part of who we are, and learn how to work with it rather than fight it. Jung believed that true self-realization, the path to becoming our fullest self, could only happen by embracing both light and dark. This journey, he called individuation. Today, we see echoes of Jung's shadow everywhere. In movies, the evil twin, the dark alter ego, the villain who mirrors the hero, all these are expressions of the shadow. Characters like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Darth Vader, Batman's enemies, or even the Joker, these are not just fictional bad guys. They represent the parts of ourselves that we fear and must confront. In spirituality, we see an increasing interest in shadow work as part of healing and self-growth. People are beginning to realize that positivity alone is not enough. We must go deeper. We must get honest. Jung was ahead of his time. He knew that without facing our own darkness, we become slaves to it. And in the end, the greatest danger is not what lies outside of us, but what lies within. The shadow is not our enemy. It's not evil. It's simply the part of us that we've hidden away. And until we face it, we will never truly know ourselves. Carl Jung's darkest discovery wasn't meant to scare us. It was meant to wake us up. Because in the darkness of the shadow, we find the key to our light. Want to explore more hidden psychology? Check out my video on Jung's concept ideas. What if your dreams are trying to tell you something? What if your dreams aren't just random? What if they're messages? Not from some external force, but from yourself, from the parts of your mind you've buried, forgotten, or refused to face. Carl Jung believed that dreams are the language of the unconscious. While we sleep, the shadow speaks. It shows us what we've ignored. It brings symbols, images, and stories that reflect our hidden fears, repressed desires, and forgotten truths. A recurring nightmare might be more than anxiety. It could be a warning. A strange figure in your dream might not be a stranger. It might be you, or a version of you that wants to be seen. Even the most bizarre, surreal dreams can carry deep meaning, if you're willing to decode them. Jung didn't just analyze dreams, he listened to them. He believed that inside every dream, no matter how strange or frightening, is a key to your transformation. So the next time you wake up disturbed, confused, or strangely inspired by a dream, don't dismiss it. Ask yourself, what is my mind trying to show me? What part of myself have I been refusing to see? Because the unconscious doesn't lie. And if you learn to listen, your dreams might just lead you to your shadow, and through it, to your true self. Like and subscribe if you're ready to face the darkness.